everybody so much for coming to this webinar. I'm super excited about it. My name is Karen Goldner. I'm the Managing Director of Established Business Services at the Women's Business Development Center. I'm in the Chicago office. We are the regional partner organization for WBENC in the 9 Midwestern states that we serve. You'll be hearing from these folks later, but I wanted to introduce my colleague, Lynn Herbert, who is our director in the Twin Cities of the WBDC. A couple of our WBEs, Susan Dawson from the Chicago area and Lily Hall from the Twin Cities area, who you'll be hearing from. And we're going to start with Laura Swenson, who is the Vice President of Events at WBENC, Women's Business Enterprise National Council. The goal for the session today really is to help you decide if the WBENC National Conference is valuable for your business, and if so, to leave you with a checklist of next steps. Couple of housekeepings. This is being recorded. Thank you, Lynn. We were able to get that done. And I will send this recording out to everybody who registered. We will do Q&A through the chat at the end. So if you have questions, you can just pop them in the chat. But what we'll do is go through the presentations and the program, then we'll stop recording, and then we'll have folks answer questions if you have any. Okay, so let me turn it over to Miss Laura.
Thank you, Karen. It's so lovely to be with everybody today. As always, I love getting to connect with folks about conference. So this year, the National Conference is headed west to Salt Lake City. This event is the largest of its kind for women business owners, and it brings together thousands of attendees and sparks countless connections. It creates space to discover, collaborate, and build relationships with an incredible array of businesses from across the country. We are so proud to bring this conference to different regions each year, and in 2026, we're headed to Salt Lake City. Salt Lake is an emerging hub for innovation, entrepreneurship, and growth, and we'll be there together over June 15th through 18th in downtown Salt Lake. So, the theme this year for the national conference is impact. Impact is everywhere within the WBENC network, and it's more than just results. Impact is that ripple effect that entrepreneurs and small businesses create every day, from building thriving businesses to uplifting employees, families, communities. The impact of WBENC entrepreneurs is everywhere. And the immense collective and individual impact of those entrepreneurs and small business owners, the impact that they have on the U.S. economy emerges in countless ways as well. So every attendee at the conference who comes to support the growth of small and women-owned businesses contributes to that impact. And I just personally love hearing the stories over the years of I talked to so-and-so at conference and this was the lasting impact. So we're really thrilled with our theme this year and can't wait to see it come to life. So why conference? First and foremost, the National Conference is your opportunity to create phenomenal relationships. 97% of attendees report making meaningful connections, new connections each year. And later on today, you'll get to hear from Susan and Lily about their own experiences and the relationships that they've built and how it's impacted them as business owners. You're going to be amazed by the variety and the depth of the relationships that go back to conference. These are relationships not only with corporate members, but also with your fellow women business owners. In addition to all the connections, the conference provides a bounty of resources. We have a variety of education opportunities and informal resource sharing. I've heard time and time again that attendees return home reinvigorated and really excited about, getting back to business and, fulfilling all of those dreams they have. So I'm going to go ahead and take you through the schedule for conference so you can understand all of the components. We get started on the Monday, June 15th at 10 a.m. with our kickoff, our small kickoff session called Ready, Set, Connect. This session is hosted by our National Women's Forum, and while it's open to all attendees, it's really targeted for our WBEs. And during this session, there's going to be networking, expert advice, and practical tools shared to help set attendees up for a successful conference experience. Following that, it'll be lunch on your own throughout the afternoon, and we'll get started at 2:15 with our opening general session. And during this general session, we will be doing, of course, a tribute to our beloved Pamela Prince Eason. We'll also be turning our heads towards the future and all the things coming our way. We also typically celebrate our WBE stars and our RPOs during this session as well. So it's a wonderful way to kick off the week and get the energy up. Following the opening session, there are two concurrent sessions, but the one that's for our certified WBEs will be our RPO meetups. So you'll get to go with your fellow WBDC attendees to the same space where we'll have a hands-on activity that encourages connection and networking, that also lets you have a little bit of fun and just spend time together. I think one of the things that makes conference as powerful as it is the relationships between WBEs. Of course, those corporate contracts are so important, but the relationships between WBEs are just a catapult. Susan and Lily will be speaking to that. But this RPO meetup session is a fantastic opportunity to get to know your community even better. And really, those relationships can help carry you through the rest of the week. Following the RPO meetup, everybody will come together for our evening reception. This evening reception is going to be themed on the national parks. When you're in Utah, who has 5 national parks, and then Yellowstone's also a short drive away, we thought we'd have some fun celebrating the absolute natural wonders of this beautiful country. That takes us to Tuesday. Tuesday is our industry focused day. We'll kick off with our industry labs in the morning. At 8:45, we'll have our first set of workshops. They'll be focused on trends across 4 different industries. And then starting at 9:45 will be the second workshop, which takes you through opportunities in those industries. And so these are trends and opportunities that you should expect to see in the next 18 to 24 months. And those are resources coming from our corporate members sharing their insights so you can better navigate opportunities there. So we'll have a set in the morning, and then I'm going to jump ahead a little. You'll see in the afternoon at 1:30 and 2:30, there's another set. So there'll be 4 industries in the morning, and then in the afternoon, there'll be 4 different industries. Then, following the first set in the morning at 11 o'clock, we will have our industry meet and greets. Our meet and greet sessions is a structured way for you to be able to connect with a variety of corporate members. So each corporate member who participates hosts their own table. With the table will have 7 open seats. And in I believe it's 20-minute active sessions with 10 minutes in between for folks to move around. Our attendees are able to go to the table of their choice as long as it has open seats, and you can sit down and have a conversation with those corporate members. So there'll be 3 opportunities between 11 to 12:30 for you to self-select which organizations you would like to speak with. Following that, we'll have the WBENC Cafe, which will be open for lunch. There's no programming during the cafe hours. It's just a chance for you to refuel, get some food, hydrate, and get right back to it. Then in the afternoon, there'll be those 2 additional workshop sessions. The CPO Summit is an invite only to the chief procurement officers with our corporate members. So forgive me, I am kind of skipping over the things that are just for corporate members. On Monday, that corporate session is also just for corporate members. So it's not really applicable to this audience. It's just resources that are designed specifically for those folks to be able to navigate the challenges that they're facing back in their corporate offices. So once the second workshop closes out on 3:15 on Tuesday, then we'll have our CEO Catalyst session brought to you by Wells Fargo. This session is going to be about leading through change. I think we can all safely say that there's been a lot of change and a lot of things happening in the world these days, and it's a lot to be a business owner and also, running your business, but also keeping an eye on your employees and the world at large and everything that's happening. So this session's really designed to help you think through, what does being a leader in this space at this time look like, and what are some tools and resources that you might be able to rely on as you navigate it. So it should be a really powerful session. I've been told that the speaker, we actually moved this, it was going to be on Monday, but the speaker who was supposed to be phenomenal couldn't make it. So we shifted some things around so she could join. So should be absolutely phenomenal. Then that evening, we'll have our evening reception. This evening reception is our sneaker jam brought to you by Leo Events, which is one of our WeBank certified WBEs. We'll also have a woman-owned pop-up shop. So just another great night for networking and connection. That takes us to Wednesday. We get started in the morning with Open Expo from 8 to 12. The expo is a great opportunity. Again, you get to design and build out your schedule and your strategy so you can walk the floor and connect with the businesses who are exhibiting. Or if you're exhibiting, you can, man your booth or woman your booth and have fun connecting with fellow attendees. Then we'll have a break for lunch again, so everybody can refuel. And then that afternoon, we'll have our second general session filled with some additional great resources and content. And then that afternoon, we'll have our WBE to WBE meet and greets. So similar format to the industry meet and greets. But instead of our corporate members hosting tables, we'll be working with our large WBEs to be hosting tables. So it's another phenomenal opportunity for you to build that network as well. And I have to apologize. This is my first time actually going verbally through our new schedule, so I missed another bit. But it's on both Tuesday and Wednesday from 3:40 to 5:15. We are introducing our corporate choice connections. Corporate choice connections are one-on-one sessions that are corporate driven. Our corporations who are participating will be scheduling one-on-one meetings based on their procurement needs. Again, this is invitation only, but it is, for those who are selected, it's a phenomenal opportunity because it's not just, I want to get to know you. There's usually a specific need behind that meeting. I'll go into the connection opportunities a little bit more in the next slide so you can kind of see how they all work together. Then on Thursday morning, we'll have another set of, oh, I'm sorry, excuse me. Wednesday evening, we'll have our last evening reception. We'll be at the Salt Lake City Public Library, which I know sounds a little odd, but it is a stunning, stunning, gorgeous building. It has a beautiful rooftop space. It has this full window atrium, really cool space. And then on top of it, this library specifically has just done a lot that's a little bit like you wouldn't necessarily think, oh, a library does that, but they have a whole maker space with like a 3D printer and all these things, and they have an auditorium. It's a really cool space. So we can't wait to show it to you. We'll have silent disco, we'll have karaoke, hands-on activities, and honestly, just great time to spend time together. So that'll take us to Thursday. Thursday opens up with Open Expo in the morning, 8 to 12. Cafe is available to refuel from 11 to 1. And then we'll have our closing general session and collegiate accelerator pitch competition in the afternoon as well. So if you really want to be absolutely blown away, our collegiate accelerator pitch competition is so much fun. The students are inspiring and it gives you just so much hope for the future of our world. So great way to close out the conference. And then in the afternoon, there are a couple additional opportunities. These are add-ons, so they're not automatically included in your conference registration, but they're a great opportunity and resource if it aligns with life schedules and all the other things that go into play. But We Connect International Day will take place from 1 o'clock to 7 o'clock. So if that's an audience or a group that you'd like to be more connected into, it's a great opportunity to get to know that group. And then we also new this year have stay and play local excursions, which I'll go into a little bit more later. So that's the overall schedule for a week. I know that it was a lot in one fell swoop. But really, I wanted to take a moment and just speak more to the connection opportunities. There's a lot that goes on at conference, but I think at the end of the day, most people are coming to build connections and build relationships. And so we have a an approach that we kind of try to look at this holistically. And so you'll see we have 5 different opportunities. Some are open to all, actually, most are open to all, and some are invite only. So Monday, this kickoff session, it is a connection opportunity for you, especially to meet fellow WBEs as it's hosted by the forum. And it's a lot of expert advice sharing and resource sharing. So it's a great tool for you to be able to navigate your week. Then the industry meet and greet, again, it's open to all. And this one is really driven by our WBEs and our small business owners. So you're able to drive which businesses you'd like to go connect with. So this is one of the ones where you'll want to have a strategy, you'll want to have an order of who you want to speak to, and kind of come in with a plan because it is competitive, I would say. I'm not going to shy away from that. The reality is a lot of people, a lot of people want to sit down at Target's table and things like that. So you do need a plan and a strategy in place. Um, and then also open to all is this open expo. Of course, expo is available for everybody. So you can really, again, build a strategy and have a plan. And then, as I said, new this year, we have our WBE to WBE meet and greets. And so that's a chance to connect at that peer-to-peer level. The number of opportunities, business opportunities at that peer level are phenomenal. It's a great way to grow and scale. And then, as I had mentioned, we have introduced our corporate choice connections. These are invite only. Communications have not been sent out yet, so they keep an eye out if you are registered. But they'll be sent out to registered attendees, and there'll be a process where you'll have to upload a profile and make sure that you're logged in, and that you need to create a profile so that the corporate members can find you and set up one-on-one meetings. So many different ways to connect. This doesn't even include the informal ways such as the receptions and the lunches and riding on shuttles and things like that. So, who attends the national conference? We have quite a variety of attendees, but they fall into 2 main groups. Obviously, our women business enterprises, and from our WBEs, we of course see many CEOs, founders, leaders, and then as folks have established strategies for coming to conference, we often see them bringing business development teams as well. So it depends on where you are in your journey with WeBank, but you'll see not just business owners, but some of their teams. Then from our corporate members side, we have corporate members, we have regional corporate members. So you'll see both levels at the national conference. And from their teams, you'll also see a variety of attendees. So, of course, you'll see plenty of supplier diversity folks who are able to attend, but they also they work to bring buyers. So you'll see a variety of buyers. It depends each one who brings what is kind of up in the air depending on the organization, but you'll see that variety across the floor. And then some are also able to bring their senior leadership. So you'll sometimes see CPOs there, and other VPs and folks who are championing incorporating WBEs into the supply chain. In addition to those groups, we also have our small business owners. So we welcome other folks who are in the process of getting certified, are often come and join to kind of see what the network is about, and we also will see other minority businesses taking advantage of the fact that the network is all together and things like that. We also invite our government entities, so depends on the year and depends on how many come, but there's usually government representation. And then in addition to all of those folks, we have our nonprofits. So we have many partners who come. We have students and other supporters. So broadly speaking, that's who you'd expect to see. And then if you're looking to come, there's a couple ways to go. Of course, if you're interested, you can buy an exhibitor package. These are available for purchase now, and the early bird price will jump up at the end of this month on April 1st. So if this is of interest to you, you'll want to make sure you snag it before the early bird price. And the packages include your booth space and 3 full conference admissions. So it's a comprehensive package. If you've never come to conference before, you probably your better bet is to go with a attendee pass. Karen and team, of course, can have longer conversations with you. I'm happy to as well if you are curious about exhibiting. But unless you're prepared to bring a larger team, I do typically recommend if it's your first time that you go with a regular attendee pass. So these are also available for purchase now. The early bird deadline for this is May 1st, so you have a little bit more time. And we have passes for the different tiers. But if you're WBENC certified WBE, you'd be looking at this rate up here. Or if you come for a day pass, up here. But if you're traveling, I would recommend you come for the whole week. Once you get here, we have 10 different hotels this year. So there's really a different hotel to meet everybody's needs. We have every brand represented and really across the different price points. Some are getting closer to the selling out point. So if you have not booked your hotel and you have a strong preference about where you stay, I strongly recommend that you go ahead and get your hotel booked. Um, the ones that the Hyatt Regency is physically connected to the convention center, so that is of course convenient. If you're a Marriott loyalist, the one that is closest is at Salt Lake. Let me find it. City Creek. It's the one that says City Creek. There's so many. Um, Here you go. This one right across the street. So that one is the closest one. That's a Marriott property, but the AC property is also pretty darn close. So, and then the Hilton is the also, those are all three right across the street. So, Salt Lake is a very walkable city. It's nearly flat, which I know there are mountains nearby, but it's the valley floor, so it's nearly flat. The blocks can be a little bit big, but they're very easy to navigate, and it's just a beautiful city. Which, if you've never been to Salt Lake, I know it's sometimes people hear Salt Lake and they kind of go, huh? I've been really lucky to, my brother and his husband live in Salt Lake, so I've had the chance to visit in all seasons. And June is just absolutely beautiful. Like the average temperature is 83 degrees and it's a dry 83 degrees, so it's really lovely. Um, so there's a lot to do if you're extending your trip, if you want to hit up national parks or even just hit up the local city. There's so many cool things to do. But as I mentioned, we do have optional add-on excursions this year. So we have 4 available. More information is on the conference website, but there's a wine tasting and tour of the Olympic National Park. So you can go, see like the ski jump areas and the bobsleds and that kind of stuff, which I know I just got off of 2 weeks of hardcore Olympics watching, and I'm very excited for that one. We also have a zip lining tour up to Sundance. So you get to see the Sundance Resort and hang out, and then also zip along. And then we have a tour out to Antelope Island, which is the island in the middle of the Salt Lake, and the island has buffalo and other incredible wildlife. And then we also have a tour to the Salt Flats, which apparently are just incredibly stunning. So, if that's something of interest to you, you can set aside some extra time to stay in Thursday, and it'll be a great way to continue building relationships because all the attendees will be your fellow conference folks. So you want to go to conference? We hope you join us. If you are coming, from my end, here's what's next. You'll want to reserve your hotel and book your airfare. Utah can be a little trickier to fly into, so I wouldn't wait too long on reserving your airfare. And then once you're registered, you want to make sure you keep an eye out for those corporate choice connections emails that give you directions on those next steps. You do not want to miss uploading your profile and setting yourself up for the opportunity to get meetings. Then the other things to look out for is probably in April, you'll get an email notification once you're registered to download the My Show Planner tool, or you'll be able to access it. And that's where you'll be able to start planning out your schedule, planning out your expo strategy and all of that. It's a very important tool to set you up for success. And then come May, we're going to have a boot camp series So you'll want to keep an eye out for that and attend. And then in June, we have a virtual orientation. So boot camp is more about, tools and resources for you to build relationships and network and all of that. Orientation's more like, here's where you need to go, wear this, make sure you've, packed XYZ, and then that way you can get on site and really focus on your relationships and not worry so much about the details. So those are the differentiation is May is more about your strategy and your relationships, and June's session is more about, get from point A to point B smoothly. So these are the dates for now. The virtual orientations are set. We have May 6th and 20th now, but I'm hoping to be able to move the 6th to the 13th. So that might shift, but these are the dates. They're not public for sign up yet, but as soon as they are, they'll be sent out to registered attendees. And that's it for me. So I'll hand things over to Susan. I hope I didn't take too much time, but truly, we hope to see you guys at conference. I just I love the conference. It makes such a big impact, and I hope you get to be a part of it this year.
Thank you, Laura. That was great. That was a terrific summary. Um, hi, I'm Susan Dawson with Navigant Law Group. I've been a WBE since close to the inception of my business back in 2008. And I've been attending conferences on and off through all the years. And one of the things that the reason I wanted to participate in this, and I was so thankful that I was invited to join, was to talk about what success at the conference means to me, because I do feel that for many people, success at the conference means walking out with a contract, walking out the corporate contract. And if that's not achieved, they feel that the conference wasn't successful. And if that is the focus, I think you're missing out on, to me, the most valuable part of attending the conference, which is the connections in the community that you can build while you were there. The WBENC conference is unique beyond anything I've ever seen, and I've been attending women business and general business conferences for years and years and years. We have serious minded, truly established and emerging businesses at this conference. We have decades and decades of information on how to build and grow a business, how to work-life balance, how to manage your business from afar while you're at a conference. Instead of sitting and listening to people lecturing you about how to change your life, you're able to sit at a table and talk to your fellow business owners and have these amazing conversations. So to me, I feel that setting what your goal is going to be, what success is going to be for the conference before you get there is important. But try to think about what success truly can mean to you, because developing these relationships, I see people on this call that I've met through WeBank and others that I've met just at conference who are now the people that I call and go to for mentorship and advice and questions and how do I take this next step in my business? And oh, I'm thinking about putting together this corporate pitch. Who do I call? What do I do? How do I start? Um, to me, that's what success at WeBank Conference is about. It's about building a community that doesn't end when we walk out the door of the conference. It's one that continues in those collaborations and confidence in our business and also having some fun. So, with that in mind, back at the Nashville conference, I launched something called Wing Women, which kind of randomly happened while we were all kicking up our boots and having fun at the last night of the conference. We were sitting around and talking, and I was commenting on how huge the conference was and how overwhelming it is, and how I couldn't have made it through if I hadn't had a couple of women there say, "Oh, there's an opportunity for you over here," and "Oh, did you know over there?" And it had this light bulb moment go off and say, why aren't we doing this together? The conference is massive. It is. There's no way around it. You can't be everywhere at once. You're going to miss things. You're just going to miss things. You can't. You have to let that go. Sometimes you have to just take a break. Your brain just can't take it all in. If you have a village while you're there, you're not missing anything. And that's what Wing Women was all about. It is not a paid membership. There's no National Association of Wing Women. It's an organic group of women who got together and said, let's do this together. And that's all it is. And it's open to everyone. There's no exclusion. So if anyone's interested, we meet in the mornings at conference. We reintroduce ourselves. We talk about what we're going to do that day. Oh, I wanted to go to that panel, but I couldn't make it. Will you take notes for me? Oh, these are the opportunities I'm looking for. If you hear anything, I mean, I was on a bus to one of the evening events in New Orleans and met somebody who did not have any opportunities for me. She was a corporate supplier, but did have opportunities for a woman that I had met for the first time at the Denver conference and had continued on our relationship. And I sent her right over to that booth. And she has opportunities now as a result because I was just sitting on a bus chatting and I threw that out to this other individual. And that's what Wing Woman is all about. But it's also about crashing back at the end of the day and saying, we're exhausted. I just need to be silly right now, or I just need to get in my pajamas and have women that I can get together with and just decompress, right? So we also have our own little Road to WBENC series. Ours is a little different, where the very first one, when we get together, we do talk about what to pack, but we talk about what shoes to wear because I always like to talk about how my very first conference was Austin, and that was years and years and years ago. And I saw all the prompts about how you should wear flats, how you should wear gym shoes, and I said, "You're out of your mind. I can't go to a women's business conference and out of my heels. You can't do it. It's I'll be laughed out of it." And then within the first day, I think I was walking around the exhibit hall barefoot because, yeah, you have to wear flats and you have to wear comfortable shoes. And everybody is. So at one of the conferences, I think it was Denver, I took videos every day of what I was wearing on my feet and what everyone was wearing on their feet. And we show these videos and we like put them down and we show these videos because sometimes you have to see it to believe it. And so we have videos of this is what everyone was wearing today. And you see everything from very fancy, gorgeous outfits, just so fashionable, to people in jeans and a t-shirt. It's what is authentic to you. What will make you feel comfortable in that moment? When you go talk to that corporate supplier person, you go give your pitch. How are you going to feel comfortable? Sometimes you have to see it to believe it. And then we also take that schedule, that lovely schedule that you had, Laura, and we talk about who can be where, what, when, and how, right? I can't make it here. Who can make it there? And we divide it up. We divide up the exhibit hall together. Who's going to take what lane and find what opportunities? And then we have a WhatsApp chat where we're sending opportunities to each other. So that's Wing Woman. It's very, very casual. It really is. A membership requirement is you have to give what you get. And what that means is if you get something out of it, you have to give what you can, which might just be giving someone a pat on the back and saying congratulations. That might be all it is, but that's all that's expected. We don't want just takers. You have to be givers and takers. But that's really this whole organization, which now has launched into, we have dinners in the Chicagoland area, but we also have virtual calls just to stay in touch, just to stay together for people who are all over. It was all born out of the Nashville WBENC conference. And it has become this beautiful community of women that is thanks to WBENC. So I'm really excited to go back to Utah or go back to conference. And I'm really excited to go to Salt Lake City in Utah. I'm excited to meet more people, bring more women into the Wing Women community, watch us grow. And as we say at Wing Woman, together we soar. So together. That's it for me. I forget who I'm supposed to throw it off to because I
Thank
break
you
the
so
rules.
much. I'm gonna ask our conference. So part of the way that the WeBank conference works is we have here. I'm gonna just there you go. The WeBank has uh, one WBE from each of the regional partners who is the conference host committee member, and they make a donation and also provide a lot of leadership in the development of the program. And for this year, for us, it is Lily Hall. I'm going to spotlight Lily. I am going to share some photos that Lily has provided and turn it over to her.
Hi, everyone. I want to be part of the Wing Women Club. That sounds amazing. I love that. Lily Hall, and I'm the founder and CEO of NOC. We're headquartered in Minneapolis, but we have staff all over the country, about 110. I became certified in 2009. And for those of you who have not been to conference, I didn't go to conference probably for a couple of years after certification, but I did start attending events in Minneapolis as well as in Chicago. And I just want to say that I remember the first event I attended in Minneapolis. I think there were 500 women in the room, certified WBEs. And I looked around and I said to myself, I'm a member of a club, but I don't know what the rules are in a good way. Like I felt like I'm here, the energy was amazing, and I just wanted to understand more about how this certification works and these corporate partners and other WBEs. And so, I made the decision that I needed to invest more to show up, attend. And so I would just say that it is an investment. I've always said we're building a long-term business in a short-term world. So this is a long game. And it has been for us. And so I would say that each year we continue to invest. I bring the team. So some of you who've been to conference, you see these cast of characters attending most years. We became a sponsor as well. We like to sponsor some of the evening events that are more celebratory. And so I did a whole bullet list, and I'm not going to go bullet by bullet. I know that this is being recorded, and I'm trying to think. I think that was Orlando, maybe. I was trying to find photos this weekend of all the fun that we've had, but it's a long game, and it is an investment. And I know people have said, Susan shared, you're not going to. Well, if you walk away with a contract, your first conference, that's amazing, and I want to hear about it. But it is an investment in your business, in your network. And I'm not a great natural networker. I surround myself with the Susans of the world. I'm an ambivert, so I'm more on the sidelines. I'm an observer, but I've really enjoyed just really learning from other people, attending the breakout sessions. There's a lot of stuff that happens. I know that Laura shared things happen sort of organically in the hallways. Hotel lobby bar is where a lot of stuff happens in a good way, not weird stuff, just relationship building. And corporates are there too. And, I would say be respectful of them. They're exhausted too. We're all exhausted. But if they engage, that's great. They're there to meet you, and they're there to find great vendors suppliers for their teams. So I broke my session down into, the long game. I would also say, if you've been to conference, you'll sometimes see people lining up to meet Target or, Ford Motor Company. And most people are on their phones. And I would say put your phone away and start talking to the people around you, because we are an ecosystem. And what I mean by that is we can be doing business with each other. If you take all the certified WBEs and what we represent in revenue, we can be hiring each other. We can be a great resource for each other in terms of, who do you use for this? Do you have a great lawyer? Do you have a great whatever I need to switch my accounting firm? All kinds of resources. And so I would say that it is the largest ecosystem. And I feel like people are missing out by just, staring at their phone. Of course, if you have an emergency, your kid's calling you, pick it up. But I would just say, don't just meet each other. And we have lots of WBEs that are now suppliers of NOC. We've been hired by other companies, other WBEs. And then, the last section, and I don't know, Karen, if you put up my bullets. I know we've got the photos.
I'm sorry. No, I didn't know you wanted those up. I apologize. No, my mistake.
That's fine. We can share it because some of this stuff has already been shared and I don't want to be redundant, but I would just say the personal connections and people really looking out for you, corporates as well as other WBEs. We also do a plan with the team. We sit down, we see who's going to be attending conference, who do we want to make sure we meet, whether it's standing at their booth or trying to get a meeting or just making sure we say hello, whether we get invitation to meet them or not, they see us there. They see us showing up. They see us participating. They see us sponsoring. They see us helping each other. And what's really cool, I would say, about the supplier community with corporates is, there's people that start with one corporation. They tend to stay within the ecosystem, even if they switch organizations. Darren Harmon, some of you know, he started out at General Mills. We met him there. Then he went on to Teva Pharmaceutical. Then he went on to United Health Group. And we knew him for many, many years. And finally, it was probably 8 years in that he was like, I have something for you. And it came true. So it is an investment. And that's what I would say. And then back to what Susan said, sometimes you just have to go up to your room and recharge your personal battery. So don't feel like you have to go to everything. It is impossible. I will disappear and just go take a hot shower, do a change of clothes, brush my teeth, get a glass of wine, and go back down to the evening sessions. You need to take care of yourself. So, and if anybody has any questions, I know there was a question about WeConnect, and I don't know if we have time to go over it. WeConnect is amazing. It's an international group. And if you have your WBE certification, that's all you need to become a member of WeConnect. And then there's a fee, but you don't have to do, you have the paperwork if you have your certification. And it's a smaller group, but it is focused on global. So check it out if you're interested in doing work globally. We've been a member for several years and have been attending. And it's probably, I don't know, 400 or 500 people. So it's definitely a more intimate setting. Might be a good way to end the conference.
Lily, thank you so much. So I am going to see if I can, let's bring up the whole group. And sorry, this takes me a minute. And what happened to Lily? There we go. I've got a couple things I want to say. And then I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording or ask Lynn to stop the recording. And then we'll make sure all the questions are answered because I know Laura has been answering some of the questions in the chat as we've gone along. Want to reinforce the RPO meetup on Monday afternoon. That is another great opportunity. From our perspective at the WBDC, you'll be in a room with a couple hundred probably WBEs from throughout the Midwest. Another chance to help kind of build your posse, your wing women, such as it is. And I'd really encourage you to prioritize being there because it's a good chance to get to know some folks, as Laura said, as you go into the week. I want to say something about the meet and greet. And actually Lily kind of mentioned this a little bit, but so there's the big brands that everybody's heard of, right? Everybody knows about, Target and Ford and all of those companies. And that's great opportunities to try and connect with them. But you'll see at the meet and greet that there's the tables like Target and Ford and whatever that people are hovering around. I've actually seen a near physical altercation once. It doesn't happen often, but whatever. But then you've got people who are sitting kind of in the back of the room, the Federal Reserve Bank of someplace that you don't know where it is, that have opportunities, right? And they're sitting at a table by themselves. So, when as we go through, and I'm going to ask Laura to talk about timing of when lists are available again, but think about who are your top priorities to meet, and then also the people who you can get to their booth. You don't necessarily need to do the meet and greet at. So just thinking about that, because there's going to be a lot of corporations, if they're just sending one or two people, they won't have a booth probably, right? Because you can't really staff a booth with one or two people very well. But they'll be at the meet and greet. So you want to prioritize that. So you want to think about all that. And that kind of gets to my last point, which is planning. And related to planning is research. So think about who's going to be there, and then do some research in advance so that when you talk with a person, you can, you have something to say, right? That's sort of relevant to what they're maybe looking for. So then I have 4 other steps to encourage you to look at. First is to make sure your WeBank Link profile is current and good, right? So sign into WeBank Link using your username and password, and then go into business info and make sure that what you're described as is keywords that are relevant to your business. Goldner Enterprises is a proud family-owned third-generation company that serves our clients. It's like, okay, what does that mean, right? So, and if you, when you get into that, if you're having trouble, you look at it, it's like, oh my gosh, this isn't what I wanted to say. I'm going to put my email in the chat at the end and you can just reach out to me. Second thing, make sure you've got a good capability statement. I know Jennifer is on the call from Kansas City. In a minute, I'm going to put a link in the chat to a 20-minute webinar that she did on making sure your capability statement is up to speed. Third, I shouldn't even need to say this. I had it written down from before. Connect with other WBEs in advance, right? Sign up for Wing Women. Susan has generously put her email in the chat. And just connect with others as early as you can so that you can kind of have that plan at conference. And then lastly, to the extent you possibly can, create a coverage plan for your business while you're at conference. Okay? Delegate authority. I know that's probably the hardest thing for business owners to do, but make sure that you aren't getting called every time, oh, so-and-so's late to the office or whatever, right? I mean, there's going to be things that you don't have any choice but to cover. But as much as you can, be present at conference, because that is what's valuable. I know Lily and well, everybody talked about, sometimes you just need to go back to your room and chill. And I completely get that. And I do the same thing. And also, if you are going back to your room 4 hours a day to work on your business, I mean, honestly, save the airfare. Don't come. It just doesn't make sense to me. And I see people do that every year. So you really need to be intentional about planning through that. So now I am going to ask Lynn to stop the recording, and then we can